Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing and discussing Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. Oh my gosh. I am in love with this book. I heart this book. I'm probably going to spend 90% of this video gushing about how much I'm obsessed with this book. It had snowed all day long, literally from Saturday night at like 9 o'clock until yesterday night at about 10 o'clock, constant snow. So this was the perfect book to just curl up on the couch, do nothing all day, and just read in one sitting, which is exactly what I did. I did not move from the couch. It put me in like the best mood ever. It's lighthearted, but sad and touching, and just, it put the biggest smile on my face. I just was beaming after I put this book down. I wish I would have heard about it sooner so I could have enjoyed this book sooner, but that's okay. It's better late than never, right? Those of you who have not read this book, you should read it, but it is about this girl. Her name is Anna. She's 17 years old. She's a senior in high school. She lives in Atlanta, Georgia. She lives with her mom and her younger brother, and her parents are divorced. Her dad is basically this world's equivalent of our Nicholas Sparks. He writes sappy, depressing, heart-wrenching love stories, and because he's a fancy pants author, he wants to send his daughter to a fancy pants school to impress his fancy pants friends. So she gets sent to a boarding school in Paris. It's called School of America in Paris, or SOAP. I thought that was really funny. And she was like, oh no, no. I don't want to go. I know nothing about Paris. I can't speak French. She took Spanish in high school. I'm not going. Well, she obviously goes. She meets her next door neighbor, Mare. Mare introduces her to her friends. They're named Josh and Rashmi, and this really cute boy named St. Clair. Anna kind of starts to like St. Clair. You know, he's really attractive. He's really funny. He says the silliest things. At one point, I think Anna describes him as French name, English accent, American school, Anna confused. Problem though, St. Clair has this girlfriend named Ellie, and Ellie is best friends with Rashmi, but she graduated last year and she's now attending college in a nearby school. Don't want to say too much more than that because I want you to experience the loveliness of this book on your own. I want people who haven't read it to experience it without knowing too much about it, and that's all I knew about it. For those of you who have read this, stick around. I'm going to go into detail. I'm probably going to gush about how much I'm obsessed with everybody in this book and everything that happens in this book, and then when you have read it, you can come back and gush with me, because this is just going to be just a bunch of gushing, because I loved it so much. So, for those of you that have read this book, oh my gosh, it was perfect. I loved that. I loved everything about it. Everything about it. I loved that it was set in Paris. I never really had a desire to travel to Paris one day, but it wasn't my first choice. But now I want to go so bad that I'm at a loss for words. I love it that much. I need to compose myself. I just thought it was so real. I thought it was so, the characters were just so natural. They were so normal. They went through real struggles. They went through real issues, and it progressed in a normal way. Like, there was no insta love in this book. It wasn't just these two people look across the cafeteria and it was instantly just like they were drawn to each other. No, he was her friend. He brought her out of her shell. He took her out her first night out off of campus, and he showed her around Paris, and he was like, why have you been here so long and not explored the city? Like, you're one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Why are you just sitting in your dorm room? What is wrong with you? Is basically what he says. So he takes her out and they explore the city, and from there they just become really good friends. And he happens to be really hot, but he has a girlfriend. Minor detail. It was right. Like, she was there for him when he found out about his mom and having cancer. He was there for her when her best friend took the boy that she liked. I mean, it just was, like, they were truly friends and they connected on that level. So it was just, I felt super natural for them to fall into kind of the more romantic bits of relationship, like when they were on Thanksgiving break and everybody went home except for these two because of certain situations, and they just spent the whole weekend exploring Paris, and she was trying so hard to get him to enjoy life again, because this is right after his mom found out that she had cancer, and she was just trying so hard to bring him out of his shell the way that he brought her out of her shell. And she used like the city and the sights and the adventure to, in the same way that he did, to get him to live again. And I loved that. I thought it was so perfect. And then when he was so upset and just lonely, he didn't want to spend his nights alone, and they slept in the same bed together, and it was super awkward, and I could imagine how freaking awkward that had to have been. And they acknowledged that it was awkward. It wasn't like some romantic thing. And she went home for Christmas break, and she finds out that her best friend is dating and sleeping with this guy that she used to like before she even left for Paris. And he was there for her, and they talked on the phone every day. Then on New Year's Eve, even though they were 3 hours apart because he was in San Francisco and she was in Atlanta, they were on the phone long enough with each other to celebrate both of their countdown. And she comes back from Christmas break, and I was like, oh my gosh, something's gonna happen. Things aren't the same. She doesn't have this guy anymore that she likes because he's totally screwed her over. And then she just sees him across the park and was like, oh, that is my best friend. This is the guy that's my best friend. This is the guy that I'm falling in love with. And it was just so perfect and so cute, and I loved it so much. But aside from the beautifully crafted, extremely believable romance, I loved the humor. It was so funny. The things that they said, like, just the things, the way that Anna thought and the way that she formulated her, like, awkward words, or like how she would just spit things out, or when she got mad, she just literally blurted things and just would go from being completely rational to being completely angry, and you could like see her thought process in her head. It's totally how girls react to things. It's totally realistic, and I loved that. I mean, this book had me laughing out loud throughout the whole thing. When they're on the plane ride home and they find out that they don't have seats next to each other, and they were kind of totally bummed about the 8-hour flight and they didn't have anyone to talk to, and he comes up to the guy next to her and he's like, oh, sorry about this, but that's my girlfriend, and she's pregnant and she has a tendency to vomit, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, I was there for her. And the guy's like, I don't want any part of this, and he gets up and runs away. And I love the part where they're sitting at lunch and she is eating the grapes and she's looking at them, she's like, oh my gosh, they're dirty, because she's kind of OCD and she's kind of a neat freak and really likes things to be tidy and clean, and she thinks about how dirty pools are and how that kind of stuff, and she's like, oh my gosh, my grapes have dirt on them, and she's trying to clean them, and she looks up and Mare and St. Clair are staring at her like, what are you doing? Oh no, it's fine, just continue with your grape bath. Your grape bath? Oh, it was so funny. There's just so much humor. And he goes, oh, that's to pants. Oh, that just went to pants. It's just like, what? The dialogue was, the inner dialogue and the dialogue between the characters was just perfect. And at the end, when she is trying to help him stick up to his dad and say, no, I want to go to Berkeley again. His dad's like, you hate California. Why do you want to go to school in California? You're going to go to school here where I keep an eye on you. And we had just found out like a few pages before that she was accepted to San Francisco school. And so I was like, oh my God, he's totally going to Berkeley so he can be with her. I mean, they weren't even together yet. They were still just friends. And he wanted to go halfway across the world to be with her just because he needed her friendship. And even though like he had this girlfriend that they were together for a while and things were good, they were okay, they were like tolerable, it wasn't like a terrible relationship and it wasn't a blissful one, but he was just so afraid of change. And I love that it shows that just because it's safe and it's something that you are used to and it's something that is comfortable doesn't mean it's the right place for you, and it like makes him branch out of his comfort zone, and he pushes her outside of her comfort zone. It made me so incredibly happy. I just finished this book and I was just sitting there and I was just like, that's all I could say. So I cannot wait to read the next book. I'm super excited to go pick up Lola and the Boy Next Door. I'm trying to wait till I get through some of the other billions of books that I need to read, but I want to read it so bad because I love her writing. I thought it was just so believable and realistic and funny, and I related to Anna in so many ways. She's probably the most relatable 17-year-old girl that I read about because she's not overly awkward, where she's like clumsy and tripping and being a total klutz, but she's not so perfectly beautiful and popular that really awful, horrendous Nana girl. People like that are just terrible people. But I loved that St. Clair stuck up for her, for regardless of whether they were fighting or whether they were best friends or whether they were at odds, he always stuck up for her. He was like, no, you can't be calling my friends a slut. You can't be saying those things to her. Do not push her in the hallway. Do not be rude to her. Like, he was always going to stand up for her. That was just, that's what a best friend should do, regardless of where your relationship is. They should always stand up for you like that. And I loved that he did that. And he punched that guy out, Dave and Mike. I also loved that when she was happy with him and when she was feeling positive and wasn't fighting with him, she'd call him by his first name, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce because I'm going to butcher it. And then when she was mad at him or he was just her friend and it was nothing more, she'd call him St. Clair. Because he was like just her friend for so long, and then the moment that the author used his first name from her mouth, I was like, oh. And she's acknowledging her feelings. So I think that's all I'm going to say about how much I love this book, because I think it's obvious that I don't have enough words. I can't formulate coherent thoughts. I thought it was just believable, and I thought it was real and organic and just like a natural progression of how two people really create a solid relationship. And the humor was there and it was perfect, and I was dying laughing at some of the parts. And at the end, I loved how he overcame his fear of heights and ran up the entire Notre Dame Cathedral just to find her, because he was there and saw her run in because he was wishing for her on the wishing star, and she had previously wished for him on the wishing star, and he's like, I wish for you every time. And then at the end, when he tells her, I wish you would have said something that night when I got drunk and I told you I had feelings for you. I wish you wouldn't have brushed it off. I thought you were rejecting me, and I thought that you were turning me down. She was like, no, but you had a girlfriend, and I didn't want to make things awkward. I wanted to just be there for you as a friend, and I was just trying to do the right thing for our friendship. He like professes his love for her. He's like, come on, can you just say it back to me? Because you're killing me here. You're killing me. If you have any other things that you just really liked about this book, or maybe you didn't, maybe there were some things that bothered you. I know that a lot of people were kind of turned off by the whole he cheated on his girlfriend thing, and he did. When you're in a relationship for so long and it's not as good as it once was, but it's comfortable, people have a hard time letting it go. And I felt like that's how St. Clair was. He had a hard time letting it go just because it was something that he was used to. He was going through so many other changes in his life that he didn't want more things to change as well. I'm still blabbing about this book. Tell me below what you thought about this book. Tell me what your favorite parts were, what made you laugh. If you cried, I didn't cry, but I did smile the whole freaking time. And let me know if the next one is as good. Don't spoil me. I don't want any spoils. But if it's just as good, because I really hope it is, because I really liked the story. And it's probably one of my favorite contemporary books I've ever read. Until next time, I will talk to you guys really soon. Bye. Hey guys, and today we're going to we got 20 inches of snow, and the sun is kind of beaming off of it right now. I love when I like sit down to film a review I'm babbling on incoherently and can't make nothing makes sense anymore. I love it. I just get too excited about the freaking book. I keep going to the river to pray, 'cause I need something that can wash all the pain. Hey, good looking. And that song is stuck in my head. There's a hair stuck to my lip gloss. Oh, there was. It was just whacked myself in the face with it. This thing just really hurts my back. I need to find a chair.